Hey everyone, so because I hit 10,000 subs about 2 weeks ago now, I made a video saying let's do a Q&A. And in that video I said I would answer all the questions, but when I said that, I was thinking I was gonna get about 50-75 questions. And now when I'm recording this, there are over 300 questions. So I mean, that's great, thank you so much. I'm surprised in a good way that many people want to know something about me. But the only downside to that is that I might not be able to answer every question. I'll try my best though. So without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. Right up front, a lot of people asked what mic and what equipment I use. So I'll just put this to rest once and for all. I edit my videos using iMovie. I mean, my intro is still one of the default iMovie intros, so you could probably guess that already. But some people have asked what kind of good editing software they need if they want to start their own YouTube channel, and I always say just use what's on your computer. I've used iMovie since I started, and while I have gotten better, the software itself hasn't changed that much. And as far as the microphone goes, I just have to check here. I use a Monocore DM500 USB. It's nothing super fancy, but it's pretty cheap on Amazon. So if you're just looking to start out, I'd recommend this. Who is your favorite director? I don't think I really have a favorite director. I have a couple of directors that I really like. They're the obvious ones like Cameron, Hitchcock, Tarantino, Nolan, Scorsese. But I would say for me personally, my 4 favorite would be Steven Spielberg. He's only made one movie I really don't like. Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, for obvious reasons. Matthew Vaughn, he just impresses and entertains me every time. And normally when people ask who is my definitive favorite director, I usually say Brad Bird. I haven't seen Tomorrowland yet. I'll get to it eventually and that might change my pick. But just looking at his track record, for me at least, it's basically flawless. Oh, and also Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I'm just gonna throw those guys in there because they're hilarious and really consistent with their quality. What do you think of Aquaman? He's good. I haven't read a ton of Aquaman comics, but I've enjoyed all the ones I have. So yeah, especially in the New 52, Aquaman's pretty good. Who is your favorite comic book character? I know this is very cliche, but I'm gonna have to go with Batman. Just in terms of a character who has a perfect mix of everything. He's smart, he's dark, he's badass, he's threatening, he can be funny sometimes, he has great villains, he has great friends, he has some of the best comics I've ever read, and some of the best movies I've ever seen. Like, Batman is just awesome. What is there not to like? What is the best movie soundtrack? I mean, if you're talking soundtracks overall, probably anything John Williams has done. From Superman to Jurassic Park to E.T. to Harry Potter to Star Wars to Jaws to Indiana Jones. Like, that guy can do no wrong. My favorite soundtracks overall would probably be Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, especially if we're just talking main themes. As far as an overall soundtrack, it's very recent, but Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 1 was just awesome. So a couple people asked me, what's your favorite movie? And kind of like the director's one, I don't have a favorite movie. I have a couple of favorite movies. Disclaimer, I haven't seen Godfather, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, or Citizen Kane. I'm working on it, okay? But in terms of the best film I've seen, as far as the directing, the performances, the music, everything, I'd probably say Birdman, which is what I usually answer when people ask me what's my favorite movie. It's just an extremely entertaining and really well-made film. But in terms of the movie that I personally enjoy the most, and I guess would categorize as my favorite, I'd have to say The Avengers. It's just the perfect superhero movie and blockbuster. By the way, that would also be my answer to what's your favorite blockbuster. Do you believe in aliens? I guess I do. Since the universe is infinite, I do believe that there are other life forms out there somewhere. What is your favorite kind of sandwich? Probably peanut butter and jelly. I don't know, it's a classic. Who's your favorite X-Men? Again, very basic, but I gotta say Wolverine, especially in the movies. In the comics, he's good, but I don't love him there. In the movies, he's amazing. And I know this one usually isn't technically an X-Man, but Magneto is also a really interesting character, and just a great villain overall. What villains would you like to see in the MCU Spider-Man movies? I'd really like to see Carnage. To me at least, Carnage has always seemed like Venom on steroids and or cocaine. And I just think that would be a really interesting and kind of brutal villain to see Spidey go up against. And it would give them a chance to redeem that kind of Venom character. What does your setup look like? It's, well, it's not very impressive. I mean, I can show you. Basically, I sit in this chair, I plug this microphone into my computer, I read my script into it, and that's about it. There really isn't much to it. What kind of music do you listen to? I don't really have a specific taste. The main stuff I listen to fall into 3 categories. One is 70s and 80s kind of upbeat pop music, kind of like You Make My Dreams Come True and anything on Awesome Mix Volume 1. The second category is music that can really get me pumped up. A lot of this stuff comes from movie trailers. And the third is just movie soundtracks in general. I know that's a really vast category, but after I see a movie, if I enjoy the soundtrack, I'll immediately try to find it on YouTube or download it on my iPod, even if I didn't really love the movie itself. What's your most embarrassing moment? I honestly can't think of one right now. I'm not trying to say I don't have any embarrassing moments and I do everything right, but I honestly can't think of anything that embarrassing or interesting. I'm sure I've slipped or fallen down in public a few times, but I honestly can't remember a specific example. Who do you like better at directing, the Russos or Zack Snyder? Me personally, it's definitely the Russos. Zack Snyder has a lot of cool visuals, but I think the Russos have cool visuals while also telling more coherent stories. I don't hate Zack Snyder like a lot of people, but I will agree that his storytelling isn't the best. People love the new Star Wars movie, and they love it so much they consider it to be episode 4 of the franchise, and the original trilogy episodes still 1, 2, and 3. Since nobody counts the prequels like me, do you consider the franchise like this? And P.S. do a remake of your top movies of all time. I will do a remake of my top movies of all time once I've seen some of those greats that I mentioned earlier. And as far as Star Wars goes, those movies are official canon, and so even though a lot of people, including myself, aren't too fond of them, I can't really ignore them. So yeah, I see Star Wars as a 7-movie series rather than a 4-movie series. How do you get the clips in your videos? I usually just download them from YouTube. There are a couple sites you can do this with. There's savefrom.net, which I usually use, and if that doesn't work, I'm sure there are others. What's your favorite Disney film? That's a really tough question. I enjoy most of the Disney stuff, especially all the new stuff they've done, Zootopia, Frozen, Tangled, Big Hero 6. I love all those. As far as the classics, like 40s to 70s Disney, I've always loved The Jungle Book. I talk about that a bit in my new review of the new movie, but in terms of overall quality, The Lion King is probably the best, although Aladdin is up there.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Also, just saying, in terms of underrated Disney movies, The Emperor's New Groove is severely underrated. Just putting that out there.
You threw off my groove.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
Okay, so Pablo Juan asked a bunch of questions, so I'm just gonna go through these. What mic do you use? Just answered that. Which Marvel hero would you want to watch in the MCU? In terms of ones that we haven't seen anything of yet, I think it'd be cool to see a proper version of Ghost Rider. And in terms of ones we have seen, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, all of the Netflix heroes, I'd love to see those in the MCU movies. How old are you? Okay, so a bunch of people asked this, and I don't know if this will come as a surprise. I believe someone thought I was 17, which I'm not sure if it's a joke, but right now, as of late April 2016, I'm 14 years old. I don't know if I may sound older than that, but I hope that isn't too surprising. Are you planning to do any shoutouts at some point? I'm not gonna say no definitely, but doing shoutouts has never really been my thing. I get that it can help smaller channels out, but I've always thought once you give one channel a shoutout, 50 more want one. I know that might sound really cynical, but that's just the mindset I've always gone by. Team Cap or Team Iron Man? Me personally, I'm on Team Cap's side. Liberty, freedom, America, awesome. I like Tony Stark, but come on. When it comes down to this stuff, I'm Captain America all the way. And finally, the question I got the most in this video, are you going to show your face someday? Someday, yes, probably. Today, no. I just think it doesn't add anything to my content if you know what I look like. Plus, I don't know this for sure, but I imagine no matter what I look like, some people will be disappointed. So someday, yes, face reveal, sure. As of right now, I'm fine staying behind the microphone and not the camera. Thanos or Darkseid? I've always personally liked Darkseid more. Okay, another question a lot of people asked. What does BHL Hudson stand for / mean? Well, I can't tell you exactly what it stands for, but I can tell you it is kind of my name, BHL Hudson. Hudson is one of my names, I just thought it would fit well at the end, and BHL is an abbreviation of my names. And while we're on that, some people have asked what's my name, and since it's on my Instagram anyway, and I'm pretty sure I said it in my Desolation of Smaug review, my name is Benedict. Yes, as in Benedict Cumberbatch. It's a bit of an unusual name. Thankfully, more people know about it now because of this guy, but yeah, that's what the B in BHL stands for. Although, just saying, it's fine if you just keep calling me BHL. If everyone in the comments calls me Benedict, I don't know, that just seems a bit weird to me. If you could make a movie, what genre would it be, what would the plot be, and would it be PG-13, PG-15, or R-rated? Well, that's actually an interesting question, because I want to be a filmmaker when I grow up. That is what I'm aspiring to do. Directing, writing, maybe acting, probably not. And if I were to make a movie, I don't know. As of right now, I'd probably want to make an action movie, probably a spy revenge movie. I already make some short films with my friends and family, and that kind of basic action movie usually is what that is. But who knows, maybe when I'm a grown-up, I'll want to make some intellectual art film or something like that. And as far as the rating, probably PG-13, although I believe the rating should come as a byproduct of the movie. If I make a movie, I'll try to make the movie first and then just see what it's rated, instead of starting off by saying, okay, this has to be rated R. We need this many curse words, this many sex scenes, this many blood squibs. Like, no, just have the rating come after the movie.
No.
Ryan Caruso asked a couple questions. Do you follow any sports? Not really. I like taking part in sports, not a really huge fan of watching them. Least favorite Pixar movie? Definitely Cars 2. Favorite 80s action movie? That's close. I have two in mind, and they're more or less equal, but I would say second place would go to Terminator, and first place would have to go to Die Hard. Just an overall, almost perfect action movie.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And finally, favorite TV show. Another one that I think a couple people asked. There are a few shows that I really like. There are the ones you've heard me talk about, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and The Flash and those superhero shows. But as far as other shows I enjoy, the first 2 or 3 seasons of Modern Family were pretty funny. Better Call Saul is pretty amazing. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver is definitely up there. Hilarious show, and you can find a lot of the clips on YouTube.
And if you're thinking, but hold on, John, what if I'm an arsehole who couldn't give a shit about America's hungry families or the long-term viability of life on Earth? Well, first, let me say, Mr. Trump, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this show tonight.
Rick and Morty would definitely be my top 3. It's by far the funniest show I've ever seen. It's so weird and absurd and creative, and the writing is so great, it is just a hysterical show. Plus, I'm pretty sure you can find all of the episodes online for free at Adult Swim. And as far as the absolute best show, I won't go into any detail now, but I'd have to pick...
I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
What is the worst movie you've ever seen? I haven't seen a lot of really awful movies, like the serious, headache-inducing, all the way through just terrible movies. But as far as the ones I've seen, I've always said Planet 51. I just remember walking out of that movie thinking that was awful. And that was back in, I believe, 2009, and I haven't watched it since. So maybe it's really great and I just misjudged it the first time, but I seriously doubt it. How do you maintain 0 dislikes? Magic? I mean, I like to think that it's not magic and just I produce content that people enjoy, but I'm sure some secret magical tricks are probably involved. What do you think is the most underrated superhero movie? I'd probably say Kick-Ass, although a lot of people do enjoy that movie. And as far as just movies that get a lot of hate, I personally think Iron Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 are better than most people say. Especially Spider-Man 3. It's not great, but it's not as awful as I think people make it out to be. Do you play any instruments? Yeah, I play the piano. Favorite movie genre? I don't think I could really pinpoint a specific genre that I like. I just like watching good movies, regardless of the genre. But if I had to choose one, I'd probably say the action movie genre. Who were your favorite DC and Marvel heroes and villains as a young kid, and who are they now? As far as DC, I've always loved Batman. I loved Batman when I was a kid, I love Batman now. And as far as Marvel, in my really early childhood, I didn't really grow up with that much Marvel stuff, but I remember liking the Hulk, and a bit of Spider-Man as well. And now, of course, thanks to the MCU, it's more like Iron Man and Captain America. Have you seen the Kung Fu Panda movies? If so, do you like them? Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen Kung Fu Panda 3 yet. I'm actually really pumped to get to it, since everyone I've heard from about it says it's pretty great. But yeah, when I saw Kung Fu Panda back in 2008, when I was something like 6 or 7, it was my favorite movie of all time. And to this day, it holds up. It's a hilarious, fantastic movie. And the second one, while not as good, is still extremely enjoyable. What is your favorite DC Marvel comic, and are you looking forward to Phase 4? As far as Phase 4, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Kinda depends on how Phase 3 goes. And what is my favorite Marvel DC comic? Marvel, I'd have to say either Civil War or Planet Hulk. And DC, pretty much anything Batman. I remember really loving Court of Owls and City of Owls, so I'd probably go with that. I think I am one of your first subscribers of the channel. I have literally heard your voice change from a boy to a bit manly now. Love your videos, I want to do this YouTube thing too. I'm a big comic book movie guy, any suggestions for me? Well, first of all, thank you for sticking through all this time. I'm glad to hear you like my videos. And secondly, as far as the YouTube thing, whenever people ask me for suggestions on YouTube, I usually just say, talk about what you want when you want. If you force yourself to do videos, you're not gonna have fun with it. And that'll come across in your videos and people will like them less. So just do the whole YouTube thing on your own terms and you'll have fun with it. And in terms of the technical stuff, again, you don't need anything super expensive in terms of editing software. Just use what's on your computer. It helps to get good audio equipment, microphones are pretty cheap on Amazon, and just try to give your videos enticing thumbnails and enticing titles. Make people want to click the video, and then once they've clicked on it, make them want to watch the whole thing. Congrats, I've been watching your videos since like 100 subs. I used to think that you really deserve more than that, and I'm happy you've finally come to 10,000. That's incredible. Thanks, I really appreciate it. My questions are simple. I'm just curious about, are you in high school or college? When do you do your videos, and how long does it take for you to make one? Because I also want to do videos for a long time. Could you tell us your story of making videos? Well, like previously mentioned, I'm 14, so I'm definitely not in college.
You two sons of bitches are going to college.
I do my videos when I can and when I want to. I record and edit when I have some free time. And yes, that does come after all the schoolwork and homework and all that stuff. When a big trailer or big movie news comes out, it sometimes happens while I'm at school. So while I'm in school, I'll just talk about it with my friends. And then when I get back home, I'll write up a script, record it, and edit as fast as I can. I do try to put the necessary effort into it, but I also do want to get my video out while the news is still relevant. There's only really been one occasion where I had too much homework and I couldn't do a video, and that was when the first Age of Ultron trailer came out. I was super pumped, but I had a test the next day, and so it was either I'm gonna fail this test tomorrow or I'm gonna talk about Avengers 2. And sorry, but priorities, I took the test.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
What directors and or actors would you like to see contribute to the MCU? I'd love to see Tom Hardy in the MCU. I don't know who he would play, I just really like Tom Hardy and things. Same with Michael Fassbender, although the whole Magneto thing might get confusing. And as far as directors, probably Brad Bird. Again, he's great at making blockbusters. What are your thoughts on maybe having Michael Keaton play a Spider-Man villain? Do you also think he would be a good Riddler? I know he's played Batman, but personally I think he's a great fit. Thanks. Well, that's another actor I want to see in the MCU, Michael Keaton, because he's just awesome in everything. And so I think it'd be great to see him as a Spider-Man villain. And as far as the Riddler, yeah, I can see that. An older, more grisly Riddler. And it'd be fun to flip the whole Batman thing on its head. Are you gonna watch Civil War or the Batman v Superman extended cut? Both. I need you to answer this. Who would win in a fight, Shrek versus the Hulk? I need to know. Shrek v Hulk the movie. I mean, I realize it isn't a serious question, so I probably shouldn't give a serious answer. I mean, real answer, the Hulk would win in a heartbeat, but I will say I would watch a short film of Shrek v Hulk. Congrats, man. Been here since 1K when the original Avengers came out. I think that's right. Anyway, keep up the great content. Q&A, what is your favorite thing about YouTube and what are your goals for the future? My favorite thing about YouTube is probably interacting with people who like my stuff. I think that's what separates YouTube from other entertainment stuff, like how there is a very direct connection between the fans of the content and the content creators, and I try to reply to as many comments as I can. A lot of YouTubers don't, and I get that since they get thousands and thousands of comments, but as long as I am able to, I will respond to as many of your comments as I can. My goals for the future are really just keep doing what I'm doing, and just try to refine my stuff a bit more. There's always room for improvement, so I'm just looking to make my content better and better. What do you think of J.K. Simmons as Gordon in the DC Universe? Great, fantastic. J.K. Simmons is definitely up there as one of my favorite actors, and while he wouldn't have been my first choice for Commissioner Gordon, he seems like he would fit the part pretty well. In my eyes, J.K. Simmons can do no wrong. Even if he's in a bad movie, he's always the best part of it, and it's gonna be fun to see him back in a superhero movie after his more recent serious films.
You are a worthless, friendless, faggot-lipped little piece of shit whose mommy left daddy when she figured out he wasn't Eugene O'Neill, and who is now weeping and slobbering all over my drum set like a fucking 9-year-old girl.
Deadpool versus Superman. I'm assuming you're talking about if they got in a fight. That's actually a pretty interesting matchup. It kind of depends on what version of Superman you're talking about. Like if we're talking 1960s Superman where he could do pretty much anything. But if we're just talking the current movie versions of Deadpool and Superman, then I'm gonna go ahead and say that Deadpool would win. I mean, both of them are pretty much invincible, but I feel like somehow, probably thanks to some fourth wall break.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Deadpool would have some kryptonite on him. And even if Superman ripped Deadpool's head off and threw his body into the sun, I feel like there's still a way that he would come back from that. Do you prefer to film a certain type of video, like breakdowns, reviews, or predictions, etc.? I like making all my stuff. I do really enjoy making the best and worst videos, but pretty much all my stuff I like making equally. If you could redo any superhero movie, which would it be? Okay, controversial territory here, because there's a massive fight about this movie, but Batman v Superman, say what you will about it, love it or hate it, I thought it was okay, but there are definitely some noticeable problems in that movie. And I'm not saying I could necessarily do a better job, but if I got the chance, I'd love to redo some things in that movie. Do you monetize your videos or get paid for them as a YouTuber? Currently no, I don't, for a number of reasons. The main one really being, I don't want to deal with that stuff yet, because once you start getting money for something, there are other things you have to worry about, and I'll have to make an AdSense account, plus I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be 18 years old when you do that, but really, I just don't want to deal with all that complication. I'm fine making these videos with no money, it's just fun. I'll monetize them someday, sure, but as for right now, no. Do you like Marvel or DC more? That's a question that needs a whole video, which I'll have to make sometime in the future. Have you seen Dragon Ball Evolution? Thankfully no. To what phase do you think Marvel will survive? I'm not really sure, cause I don't really know where they're gonna go after phase 3. I mean, I do have my ideas, but I don't know what's gonna happen with the whole Thanos thing. I don't know if some worlds will be destroyed, I don't know who will join the Avengers, I don't know if someone's gonna die, so honestly, I really have no idea. Hopefully a lot of phases though, as long as the quality stays this consistent. Can you do a Star Wars in chronological order video? That is actually a pretty pretty good idea. How/when did you begin to like comic books/movies? I mean, I've always liked movies. I think around the first Avengers movie was where it started, but when I really started getting into film, like seriously, was after I saw Birdman in early 2015, and I guess to a lesser degree Whiplash, because those were the movies that made me love all movies. Before that, I thought all the Oscar films were super boring, and just artsy stuff that I wouldn't like, but Birdman and Whiplash were so good that they convinced me to give other serious movies a try, and thus I really got into film.
Bullshit. They don't know you, your work, man. They know the guy from the bird suit who goes and tells coy, slightly vomitous stories on Letterman.
And as far as comic books, again, around late 2013, when I started to really get into superhero movies, I started reading more comics, and it just went exponentially from there. What are your top 10 best and worst movies ever? My top 10 best, I've already made a whole video about that, but here's the summary. And top 10 worst, again, I don't think I've seen enough bad movies to really make a competent top 10 list, so I'll just stick with Planet 51. What is your favorite food? Probably tacos. Tacos are amazing. What is your favorite band? Either the Beatles or Queen. Your work is amazing. I just wanted to know if you would keep updating the Marvel Universe in chronological order video with every Marvel show/movie that comes out. That's the kind of thing that a lot of people have asked, and really, here's my plan. I can't make those videos after each movie comes out, and I'm not entirely sure if we'll make another one. If I do make another one, it'll be after Phase 3 ends. With all of these movies, all of these shows, all of these one-shots, just cut it off there. But don't put that in stone, because I don't know if I'll do that. That last video took a lot of work and effort. And not only that, but I have to write a whole new script with the same content, with new jokes and all kinds of stuff. And I could just do it with the new content that's come out, but then where would the flashbacks go? It's kind of a complicated thing, so I'll have to think about it. But currently, my stance is, I might not, but if I do it, it would be after Phase 3 ends. Review seasons of Arrow, and what did you think of the quality of Season 3 after Season 2? I've only seen a bit of Season 1 of Arrow. I have to get caught up. Have you watched any British TV shows like Doctor Who? I have not watched Doctor Who, and I don't think there are any other specifically British TV shows I've seen. Have you ever been to an early screening of a movie? Well, not one that I've been invited to. That kind of makes it sound like I sneak into screenings. I mean, I've never gotten an email from a movie studio saying, come see our movie early. I just get into relatively early showings of movies, like pre-premiere showings, and I do that by just ordering my tickets like a month in advance. But no, I've never been specifically invited to an early screening of a film. What movie do you like but everyone else hates, and what movie do you hate but everyone else loves? Interesting question. I'll just have to look through here. As far as the movie that everyone else loves that I hate, to be fair, I only saw this once when I was pretty young, and I haven't seen it since, so maybe it's amazing. But I remember when I saw the movie Hugo in the cinema, I really disliked it. To be fair, I was like 8 or 9 years old, but I just remember having a thoroughly bad time with that movie. Although since everyone else says it's great, I feel like I kind of have to rewatch it to really get the experience. And as far as movies that everyone else hates that I like, there are a couple of comedies like Identity Thief and even Vacation last year. They aren't amazing movies, but I find them funny enough. I would also put out there the Percy Jackson movies. I'm kind of biased to this because I love the books so much. Like, I cannot recommend the Percy Jackson books enough. And the movies, they're not necessarily good, but I personally get quite a bit of enjoyment out of them. Top 10 Marvel villains from the MCU. Keep up the good work, loving these vids. Thanks, but I'm actually planning on making that video sometime in the future, so I'll save my thoughts for then. Thoughts on The Walking Dead, comic and or show? Haven't read the comic, haven't seen the show. Although a lot of my friends tell me I should get into the show, so maybe sometime soon I'll check it out. Q, why did you put that picture of Soups for your account pic? Well, the Superman silhouette I chose mainly because back in the day when my channel was just starting, I didn't really know what to put for a profile pic. So when I first started out, I had a picture of Iron Man from Iron Man 3, and then when the Winter Soldier came out, for a while I had this picture. And all that time I was thinking, I should really get something that's more my thing. And so I chose the Superman silhouette just because it kind of represents superheroes. It's obviously implied it's Superman, but it's not Superman specifically. You can't see the logo or anything. And I just kind of felt it represented the whole superhero genre, while also not being anything too specific. Be chill, do you like DreamWorks? Because I haven't seen many reviews on any DreamWorks films. Yeah, I love DreamWorks. Kung Fu Panda, Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, all of those are great. I guess I'm just saving my thoughts for the best and worst of DreamWorks. Coming soon-ish. That'll be a tough video to make. Do you think that the MCU will always be on top of the DCU, or do you think that DC will catch up to Marvel sometime in the future? I don't want to put my foot down on any specific franchise, because these superhero franchises, they can change on a dime. Just look at the X-Men franchise. They went from some of the best superhero movies to just a joke in the film industry, and then bounced back to become some of the best superhero movies again. I do have more confidence in Marvel staying strong, just because of their amazing track record so far, but I do think DC can come back from the backlash that their last two films have gotten, especially if Suicide Squad works. I'm holding out to see that, because that's how I'll judge this DC universe, if a non-Zack Snyder DC film can hold this up. I don't know if they'll be good enough to catch catch up to Marvel, but here's hoping. I want all superhero movies to be great. Hudson, you're so awesome, and I totally agree with stuff you say, but my question is, who is your favorite Pokemon? And if you don't like Pokemon, just try to pick one. Well, it's not that I don't like Pokemon, I've just never really gotten into it. I always like Jigglypuff, just because I like saying the word Jigglypuff, and also Snorlax, because from what I've gathered, his main power is just sleeping, which is awesome. So yeah, Snorlax and Jigglypuff. Do you collect anything, like action figures or Lego? I wouldn't say I necessarily collect these things, I've just gotten them as gifts over the years, and I've lined them up over here. I got some Tintin figures, got some superhero stuff, and then I have all these Marvel items that I got way back when. I have a Harry Potter wand, and then there's some more action figures down here that I just keep in a giant box. Also, I do have a ton of Lego, but recently I took most of it down and put it in these bags, so that's why I'm not showing it here. Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, you name it. From your early videos to now, what happened to your voice? Okay, this is something I have to address, because for the last couple of months, every day, like I'm not joking, literally every day, I've gotten some comment talking about how deep my voice has gotten. Like seriously, just look at this. I get it, okay? I don't really have a problem with it, I just find it kind of funny. Like yes, trust me, I have noticed as well. When I do get behind the mic, my voice kind of does get more monotone. I've personally noticed this, and my friends have also pointed it out, but it does get a little bit ridiculous with how much people say this. I have to say, my personal favorite comment about this is from Daniel Ordonez, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, who says, puberty hit your voice like a truck. I don't know, that just made me laugh pretty hard. Okay, so another question I got a lot of is, what country do I live in? And this is a question that I would have just skipped, because I feel like it's a little bit personal, but then recently I discovered that this information is already public somehow. On the website Social Blade, it already says where I live. I'm not entirely sure how they got that, but since it's already out there, I might as well just say it officially. Currently, I am living in the country Denmark. It's an awesome country, one of the happiest in the world, according to some list. I've lived here for a while, I'm part Danish. Some people might have picked up on this already, but yeah, Denmark, fantastic country. The reason I've kind of avoided saying where I live is because when I was growing up, I was kind of taught the internet is an extremely dangerous place, don't put anything personal online. I don't know if it's just me, but in the time I grew up, I was kind of told if you put too much about where you are, who you are, what you do online, someone will probably come and try and kidnap you. And so that's why I've remained kind of iffy on this. But since it's already out there, yeah, Denmark. Do you think there will be a Deadpool 2? Yes, I do, because it's been announced. What is your favorite and least favorite DC movie? My favorite would have to be The Dark Knight.
Speaking of which, you know how I got these scars?
No, but I know how you got these.
Although Batman Begins is up there, I love that almost as much. And least favorite, probably Superman 4, or Catwoman, or Jonah Hex, if that is DC. I don't know, DC has a bunch of amazing movies, but they also have some really awful ones. Do you ever plan to work/befriend with other YouTubers? Maybe, yeah. A couple of people have reached out and asked to collab with me, and I've turned all of them down, and it's not because I don't want to, it's mainly for two reasons. One, and I know this is gonna make me sound kinda like a jerk, but for real, I don't think I would have the time. Like, between my schoolwork, going out with friends, being with my family, watching movies, watching some TV, doing sports, and actually making my own YouTube videos, I don't have a ton of free time. Quite a bit of my free time is used on my own YouTube stuff, so I'm not really sure how I would fit in a collab there. And two, I don't really have the equipment necessary. Currently, I don't have a Skype account. I know, it's weird, but that's just how it is. And I feel like it would just be very complicated to figure it out, especially since I'm in a different country from most people. So yeah, working with other YouTubers, I'm not putting it out of the question. In the future, when this starts being a bit more professional, then yeah, probably. But at the moment, I kinda can't do that. I want to get into the DC TV universe since Batman v Superman basically killed the movie one. Where do I start? Flash, Arrow? Well, I've personally only seen a bit of season 1 of Arrow, and I've seen all of the Flash, but I'm still gonna say you should probably start with Arrow. Just watch the shows in the order they came out, because in the Flash, there are some times where I'm a bit confused as to who is who when they do crossovers with Arrow. So yeah, I would say start out with Arrow, then go to Flash, then go to Supergirl, then go to Legends of Tomorrow, if you really want to get into this TV universe. Okay, Bryce Smith asks a bunch of questions, so let's go through these. What were your favorite TV shows as a child? Well, definitely the Justice League TV show, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. That stuff is fantastic. I loved that show when I was growing up, I love it now, and when I hear either the JL or JLU theme song, I can't help but smile. No matter what is happening, if I hear this, I will start grinning, just saying. When did you get into superheroes? Well, funnily enough, kind of with the Justice League TV show. That was when I was really young growing up, and then after that ended, I wasn't really into superheroes for a while, but then when the Avengers came out, I got right back into it, and I obviously got way more into this stuff, and here we are today. What are your top 5 superheroes that don't have a movie yet that you would like to see on the big screen? Well, I'm just gonna go back and look at my old video where I talk about what superheroes need movies. Give me 1 second.
A few moments later.
Okay, so funnily enough, most of the superheroes I mentioned there already have or are now getting a movie. There's Deadpool, there's Shazam, there's The Flash. But so I can still say 5 I really want to see. I want to see a Martian Manhunter movie. I think that'd be awesome. There is the Green Lantern movie coming out, but I really hope they go with Jon Stewart, just because he's always been my favorite Green Lantern.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
I'd really like to see a Nightwing movie. I think that'd be an interesting and new take on the whole Batman world. A Defenders movie, that'd be great. And finally, I've said this since the start of my YouTube channel, but a movie about The Question would be awesome. Or maybe even a dark Netflix Marvel style TV show. Again, going back to JLU, he's just such an awesome character there, and I just really want to see this guy on the big screen, or relatively smaller screen. I don't care, just give me more of The Question. Hey BHL, congratulations on 10k subs. You really deserve it, been a subscriber since 500. For the Q&A, when did you start making YouTube videos and gaining subscribers subsequently? Well, I started my YouTube channel back in December of 2013, and I uploaded my first video, I think in January or February of 2014. But when I really started to get subscribers and kind of get noticed, I think was around the end of 2014. There are a few reasons for this, I think. One is that around that time I got my mic. Before that, I was aware that the audio quality of my videos wasn't good, but there was really nothing I could do about it. But once I got a mic, obviously the quality improved quite a bit. And also, I look at YouTube like a snowball effect. It took me almost 1 entire year to get 100 subs. Then in the next year, I got about 6,400. And right now, we're only 4 months into the new year, and I've already gotten 4,000 more subs. So the first year was 0 to 100, and the second year it was 100 to 6,000. So really the hard part is just getting noticed, and once you do that, as long as you keep consistently producing good content, more and more people will arrive and the snowball will get bigger. If you were given the chance to play a superhero movie character of your choosing, which one would it be? Marvel, DC, anything? Well, I'm trying to think of a balance of what I could play well and what I actually want to play, because I can say I really want to play Batman, but would I actually make a good Batman? Probably not, at least as of right now. So I'm thinking I'd want to play maybe Nightwing or Green Arrow. I don't know, if we take away my acting ability, which isn't the best in the world, I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to play Nightwing. How do you feel about the new Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover MIB 23? And who do you prefer in the MCU, Black Panther, Vision, Ant-Man, or Scarlet Witch? Well, firstly, the MIB 23 thing, sure, sounds promising, especially if they get Phil Lord and Chris Miller, because as previously mentioned, those guys can do anything. I remember enjoying the first Men in Black, and in my opinion, the Jump Street movies are some of the funniest comedies to come out in the last 5 years. And both those franchises are pretty absurd, so yeah, I could see that working. As far as who do I prefer out of Black Panther, Vision, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch, at the time of this recording, I haven't seen Civil War yet, so I can't really say Black Panther. So of Vision, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch, probably Ant-Man. The other two are really good, but Paul Rudd is just really great in that role. And Ant-Man is definitely the most human of these three. Have you seen Forrest Gump? Yes, I have. Good movie, good performance, good overall. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction? I have not, unfortunately. I really, really want to. It seems like a movie I would love. Hopefully I'll get there soon.
Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
Who is your favorite Avenger? Although I'm on Team Cap for Civil War, I have to say, of Captain America and Iron Man, I kinda like Iron Man more. Don't get me wrong, I love the character of Captain America. But Tony Stark's the one who's been there since the beginning, and pretty much every time he's on screen, I'm just fully entertained.
That's all you got? Cheap trick and a cheesy one-liner?
Sweetheart, that could be the name of my autobiography.
If you had a chance to make a movie with superheroes, no matter the number or universe, villains too, then who would it be and what would the story be? I'm not entirely sure what this means. When you say no matter the universe, does that mean I can cross over? In which case, I would definitely make Marvel vs. DC. But if you're just saying if I were to make a superhero movie, then I'd really like to make a Batman movie. Just because there are so many arcs you can do with that character, and there's so many cool villains and gadgets. As previously mentioned, Batman is awesome. What is your favorite Marvel movie? While I enjoy pretty much everything in the MCU, I don't think anything can beat the Avengers. Favorite superhero movie? Also the Avengers. What's your favorite Marvel movie other than the Avengers? That's tough, because it's definitely a toss-up. It's either the first Iron Man or Captain America the Winter Soldier. Both of them are absolutely fantastic, but just in terms of what it started, I'm gonna have to go with the first Iron Man. I mean, it completely changed the movie industry. How are you? I'm good, man. How are you? How long does it usually take to make and upload a video? When it's a trailer breakdown or a video on some big news that just came out, those videos between writing, recording, editing, and uploading usually take about 2 to 4 hours. hours. That's a rough estimate though. Basically, if the video is between 5 to 10 minutes, all the things I do, writing, recording, editing, uploading, those usually take about 45 hours. Usually not in a row, but spread out over a certain period of time. And the longer videos, like the best and worst ones, those can take quite a bit more. It used to take way longer when I had an older computer, but now that I upgraded, the process does take considerably less time. This is kind of related. Which video is the most challenging video you ever made, and how long did it take? Definitely the MCU in chronological order video. Usually I don't have to do a lot of research for a video, but that was quite an exception. I had to catch up on multiple seasons of TV shows to make that. Then look through the movies and the wikis to find flashbacks and dates and all kinds of stuff. Then actually writing the whole thing, recording the whole thing, and editing was a nightmare. Because that was with my old computer where it was really slow and it lagged all the time, and I'm so glad I have the new one. So yeah, that one was the toughest, but according to the response, it was definitely worth the work. Are you more hyped for Suicide Squad or Doctor Strange? And what are your thoughts on the new Spider-Man movie? At this point, I'm probably more hyped for Suicide Squad. Doctor Strange could very easily end up being the better movie, but based on the trailers and the casting, Suicide Squad just looks more exciting to me. To be fair though, we have 3 Suicide Squad trailers and 1 Doctor Strange trailer. And my thoughts on the new Spider-Man movie? Well, everyone who's seen Civil War early says Tom Holland is fantastic as Spidey. Robert Downey Jr. is also signed on, so all of this together looks pretty promising. The only concerns are the director hasn't really directed that much. The writers, I believe, are the writers of Vacation, which again, I didn't hate, but it wasn't a fantastically written movie. And also, I'm not a huge fan of the title. I get that he's now a teenager, so Homecoming and all that, but I don't know, it just didn't really click with me. Hoping for the best though. Will you ever review Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, or will you ever do a review of the Batman games, the Arkham ones? As far as the Arkham games, I haven't played any of them all the way through. I'm not a big gamer guy, not because I don't like playing video games. It's just I don't have a PlayStation or an Xbox or anything like that. So when I play games, it's always at some friend's house. So I've never actually played an Arkham game all the way through, but from what I have played, it's awesome. And I guess I can just review Scott Pilgrim vs. the World here, a bit briefly though. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is great. It's really funny, it's really well written, the directing by Edgar Wright is fantastic, it has great replay value, you can watch it multiple times, and it's just a really fun video game inspired movie. Also, the visuals are phenomenal. Some of the best I've ever seen in a film. I'd give it something like a 9 or 8.9 out of 10. Highly recommended, really fun movie. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I have a sister. What is your favorite superhero animated TV show? As previously mentioned, definitely Justice League. What summer films are you planning on reviewing this year? Which kind of coincides with which movie are you most anticipating in the next coming months? Well, over the summer, in terms of movies that I'm going to review, there'll definitely be a review for Civil War, there'll be one for X-Men Apocalypse, maybe one for Finding Dory, one for Independence Day 2, one for the BFG, maybe one for Ghostbusters, maybe one for Star Trek, maybe one for Bourne, and definitely one for Suicide Squad. And as far as movies that I'm most looking forward to, The Nice Guys looks genuinely awesome.
You beat people up and charge money?
Yeah. Sad, isn't it?
Shane Black directing Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe in a 70s action comedy. It looks amazing. What presidential candidate would you vote for in 2016? Now I try to avoid politics on this channel. When I did my top 5 US presidents and top 5 worst US presidents, I tried to make it presidents who are long gone, because if I was to put a more recent president on those lists, it would just be chaos in the comments, which funnily enough happened anyway. But for 2016, I'm just gonna say it, I'm totally feeling the burn. I feel like of the candidates, he's the best leader, and I also took a test online to see which presidential candidate my political views matched up with, and Bernie Sanders was right at the top. If you had to give up one superhero franchise, what would it be? Between X-Men, MCU, and the DCU? That's tough, because I don't want to give up any of those. I'm definitely not going to give up the MCU. Call me a Marvel fanboy, but quality-wise, for me, they have an extremely solid track record. And I guess I could say DC, because I haven't loved their last 2 movies, but I'm still curious to see what happens next. And also, DC has some of my favorite characters ever. And if I gave up DC, I'd have to miss out on the Affleck Batman movie, so I can't have that. And I really enjoyed the X-Men movies, and if I give those up, that means all Wolverine and Deadpool movies are gone. Not to mention the larger team movies. But still, putting all this together, I guess I'd say X-Men? Don't get me wrong, I don't want to give it up, but Cameron has put me in a corner here. Have you ever deleted a video on YouTube? Yeah, I have. Some of the first videos on my channel were videos of me fencing, and I just took those down because those were kind of for myself, and not really the public. There was also a video I made early on about Indiana Jones 4, which I took down for whatever reason. And there's also this video called Goodbye YouTube, which I made late 2014 when I thought I was going to quit YouTube. To not go into too many details, I was having some trouble in my personal life, and I felt I couldn't keep up with the YouTube thing, so I was like, I'm just going to take a bit of a break here.
For reasons that I won't go into here, I'm going to be stopping making YouTube videos for a while.
But then, as soon as I uploaded it, I was like, let's just sit this out actually, before putting out a definite statement. And I'm glad I did, because YouTube is still one of the most fun things I do. Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson, who do you prefer? They're both great in their own ways, but I have to say Heath Ledger. Congratulations, will you ever make a Game of Thrones review? Sure, as soon as I've watched all the seasons.
Dragons do not do well in captivity.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Where do you see your channel going next? Big fan, man. Always look forward to your videos. Keep up the good work. Hopefully in a good direction. Again, I just want to refine my editing, keep making my videos better, and hopefully people will keep enjoying them. What made you start doing YouTube? Well, around 2012, 2013, I really started to get into two things: video editing and movies. I loved watching movies, I loved talking about movies, and I also started making my own movies. They were short little skits, and looking back now, they obviously have their flaws, but I really enjoyed making that stuff. And then around mid-2013, I started doing movie reviews. I didn't put them online, I didn't show them to anyone. It was just for my own personal practice. And back in those reviews I made, I was showing my face. They were kind of like format-wise Jeremy Jahns, Chris Stuckman type thing. And so I wanted to put them on YouTube, but at the time, my parents were kind of like, don't put yourself out there just yet. And I'm glad they said that, because then I wouldn't be here now. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I'll do them without showing my face, and then I'll work my way into just the face showing format. But lo and behold, I really enjoyed doing this kind of thing. And then we're here. Basically, I started doing YouTube because I like talking about movies, I like making videos, put them together. BHL Hudson. What do you eat while you watch a movie? Q from South Korea. Congrats. Well, thanks. It's cool to hear I have some viewers in South Korea. Generally, I either eat popcorn or chocolate in the movie theater. Not like just a plain bar of chocolate, but chocolate-covered raisins, something like that. Are you gonna start uploading more? And congrats on 10k subs. And this kind of correlates with, can you do more videos? You have really good content, and I'm positive that if you publish almost every day, you could easily reach 1 million subs. I mean, I've set my upload schedule loosely to be on Fridays. Again, if some trailer news comes out, I'll just put it up then. But I don't think I could upload daily. One, because I would run out of ideas, and two, it'd be too much work, and it just wouldn't be as much fun. YouTube, for me at least, is only fun when I'm doing it when I want to do it. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. So I think, for now at least, I'll stick with that. Who gets more hate, Age of Ultron or Batman v Superman? I like both, by the way. Well, I'm gonna say Batman v Superman. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, I think Age of Ultron has a 75%, and Batman v Superman has a 28%. I personally liked Age of Ultron more, although I don't think either was a really bad movie. But yeah, Batman v Superman has a lot of hate out there. So some people asked if I can show my DVD collection. It's not super impressive, because DVDs are kind of dying out, and iTunes and Netflix are becoming the new big things. But sure, I can show a bit. What is your favorite X-Men film? I haven't seen your best and worst because it's guarded by Fox. And what is your least favorite? Well, firstly, my favorite X-Men film is Days of Future Past, and my least favorite is a toss-up between Last Stand and Origins Wolverine, but I think I'm gonna have to say Origins Wolverine. And also, thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about Fox and their moronic copyright system. Fox, in terms of the YouTube copyright system, are the worst movie studio when it comes to this stuff. Most of my copyright claims come from them. Whoever's running that system does not understand fair use, because that is what my videos fall under. Luckily, companies like Disney are pretty cool with this, and that's great because they own most of the big franchises. But yeah, Fox, come on. Do you have any political learnings? If so, what are they? I do not. The only stuff I know about politics is what I've learned in school and from reading. What would you do if Infinity War fails? Probably cry. No, but really, I don't think it will. I think the Russos have got this under control, and I think it's going to be a pretty epic wrap-up. If it does fail though, which is entirely possible, well, that would just suck. How many TV shows do you watch? Your videos are awesome. I don't watch a ton of TV shows. I'll only watch an entire show if I'm really into it and really invested in the characters and that kind of stuff, or if it's just really funny and not that time consuming. But unlike a lot of my friends, I don't watch a ton of TV. What is your social security number? Lol, but seriously, are there any videos like predictions or wish lists or opinions that you now disagree with or regret making? What made you decide to start creating content on YouTube? I've come to the conclusion that you were still in high school, but even if I'm wrong, does being a YouTube movie reviewer interfere with your personal life? Do your friends know about your channel, and if they don't, why not? I don't think there's anything I disagree with or regret making. Sometimes people will comment on my predictions videos, especially on my predictions for the yearly box office, and say something like, man, you really screwed up, you should redo this list. And when I read that kind of stuff, I'm like, that's the whole point of making a predictions video, that you might not be right. So I don't think there's anything I regret saying or predicting or wishing. I think the only kind of major mistake I've made on YouTube is with my best superhero movie of 2015 video, which I realize now I should have originally called the best comic book movie of 2015, because I included Kingsman in there, and I guess I wasn't really thinking straight when I made that, and I was just confusing comic book movie and superhero movie. So, lesson learned, I guess. Besides that though, I don't think there's anything else. What made me start my channel? I already talked about that. And does this interfere with my personal life? kind of. I might look at movies a little bit more critically now, but there's nothing really major. It doesn't really interfere with my life. No one's ever like, oh, you review movies online. This completely changes what I think of you. And my friends definitely know about my channel. When I started it, they were the first people I told. And most of them like my stuff. We talk about it sometimes, we joke about it. They find it quite amusing that people are asking for a face reveal. Yeah, we have a good time, but it doesn't really affect how people think of me. At least, I don't think it does. Have you ever eaten authentic Mexican tacos? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by authentic Mexican tacos. Do you mean tacos from Mexico directly? In which case, no, I've never been to Mexico. But the tacos I do eat, they're always homemade. I've never actually been to Taco Bell. And it tastes pretty authentic. Could you do a best and worst of Planet of the Apes and The Matrix? Sure, sometime in the future. I just have to watch all of the Planet of the Apes movies. And I've only seen the first Matrix, so I'll have to catch up there too. Who was your favorite playable character to play as in Arkham Knight? Again, haven't played enough of it to really have a favorite. What superhero do you think deserves a standalone movie the most? And then Groot points to himself. Like I said, the question. How are you able to make every video seem like a smooth ride? Lol, I've looked at the like button and most are like no dislikes. Well, thank you. I appreciate you think my videos are a smooth ride. I don't really know how or why. I guess over time I got a bit better at editing. So another question I got quite a few times are who are some of your favorite YouTubers? So I'm just gonna go through my subscriptions list and tell you some of my favorites. There's Andre on Black Nerd Comedy, pretty good stuff. There's Bat in the Sun, Superpower Beatdown. Those videos are extremely well produced and a lot of fun to watch. I like Chris Stuckman's movie reviews. I enjoy pretty much everything done by Epic Rap Battles of History. H3H3 Productions is pretty hilarious. How It Should Have Ended is great. It's Just Some Random Guy is great. All of the stuff John Cozart does on Paint is fantastic.
If you think Vine is great, YouTube is greater. Well, don't be a hater, I'm greater than you.
Schmoes Know, another great film review channel. I really enjoy watching CinemaSins and CinemaSins Jeremy.
Dear MPAA.
You. And I like pretty much everything Screen Junkies puts out. The Screen Junkie Show, Honest Trailers, movie fights. I'd say if I had to nail it down to my 4 favorites, on that list would be The Third Pew. Doesn't have the most consistent upload schedule in the world, but when he does upload, his content is amazing. He's hilarious. Then there's Jeremy Johns, most of you probably know him. Great movie reviewer. Then as far as a straight ahead comedy channel, Jack's Films, in my opinion, is by far the best on YouTube. Everything he makes me laugh. If you want to have a good time with consistent, really funny comedy, head over to Jack's Films. And number 1, you've probably already guessed it, by far my favorite YouTuber is Mr. Sunday Movies. Absolutely great videos all around. There hasn't been a single video of his that I haven't enjoyed, and I also want to mention his podcast, The Weekly Planet, is the best podcast ever. I could be wrong about this, but I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as I did listening to some of the episodes of The Weekly Planet. There hasn't been a single episode where I haven't burst out laughing multiple times. It's just the best. Check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, they'd probably handle it a lot better now.
Probably, yeah. Like, and there's a scene like in Casino Royale where there's
there's that bit where they whip his nuts with the rope.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the only statement I'm thinking of.
And for the question, who inspired me to make YouTube videos? Mr. Sunday Movies didn't inspire me to start making them, but after I started watching his stuff, that is definitely the level of quality I'm trying to achieve. Who are some of the worst YouTubers in your opinion? Well, this is a topic that I want to stay away from, because this whole YouTube drama has been going around lately, and I really don't want to get involved. I'll just say there are some channels who profit off of things that I don't think should be profited off of. And I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to get involved in this. What do you think is the best animated movie of all time? Do you have a job outside of YouTube? If so, what is it? And someone else asks, what do you do full-time in real life? Well, I do not have a job, because I don't think I'm legally allowed to. Full-time, outside of YouTube, I go to school. Do you love Pixar movies? Yeah, totally, with 1 or 2 exceptions. Who was your favorite president of the USA? I don't know if you can really have a favorite president, but I would say the best, in my opinion, is Abraham Lincoln, for very obvious reasons. What was your favorite movie in 2015? That would be one of 3 movies, either Mad Max, Fury Road, Creed, or The Revenant. All 3 of them are really well acted, really well shot, and all 3 are just fantastic, really entertaining movies. Weird but kinda cool question here, if you had to make everyone in the world watch one movie, what would it be? If I had to pick one, I would probably say The Incredibles, just because I think pretty much everyone can enjoy that. I think everyone of all ages can handle it. If you don't like the story, there's awesome action. If you don't like the action, there's an awesome story. If you can't understand what's going on, there are great visuals. I think most everyone can enjoy something about that film. Will you ever stop making YouTube videos? When YouTube stops being fun for me, eventually, I think I'll probably stop. I don't know when, if ever that will happen, but when I stop enjoying it and I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, that's when I think I'll at least take a break. What are some of your favorite guilty pleasure movies? For anyone who doesn't know, guilty pleasure movies are bad movies that you still enjoy. I would say, again, the Percy Jackson movies, but at the same time, I don't love those movies, and not everyone hates them, so they don't really count as a guilty pleasure. The Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, I saw those when I was younger and I enjoyed them. I haven't watched them since, so I have no idea if they hold up, but I remember really enjoying them when I watched them. And I think the main one I have to put here is 2003's, I believe, The Cat in the Hat. I can tell when rewatching it that it is a poorly made film, but I saw it when I was really young, and so I kind of grew up with it, and so now I have a strange place in my heart for this really weird movie. If I hadn't seen this movie when I was really young, I probably would hate it, but because I did, I find quite a bit of enjoyment in it. What characters would you put in the Avengers team after Phase 3? Again, the Netflix heroes, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and all of these new characters that are getting standalone movies in Phase 3. Which Phase 3 film do you think will be the best? This is a tough question, and I think it's going to be one of 4 films. It's either going to be Civil War, Infinity War, and yes, I'm counting that as one movie, Black Panther, or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If we take out Civil War for a second, the one I'm looking forward to the most of these might actually be Black Panther. And that's only really for one reason, the director. And it's being directed by Ryan Coogler, the guy behind Creed, so I am beyond excited for that. And I'm guessing Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is just going to be a lot of fun in the best way possible. Who is your favorite comic villain? Definitely the Joker. Really interesting, really mysterious, really threatening, perfect villain. What got you into Marvel and DC? I got into DC thanks to the JLU show, and I got into Marvel thanks to the Avengers. 2 pretty perfectly made things in my opinion. Do you think Marvel Studios will ever put Devil Dinosaur in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, having just googled Devil Dinosaur, I sure as hell hope so, although I doubt they actually will. Will you ever do a video about all the DC animated movies? I'd love to see you talk about them, especially because no one else really talks about them. Yeah, I'd totally be open to doing that. I've seen a couple of them and they're great, I'm just gonna have to watch all of them. If you had to choose one to go bankrupt, would it be DC or Marvel? Well, I don't want either to go bankrupt. I want to see all these movies coming out, and I want there to be some competition, so each company tries to stay on top of their game. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say DC. I know people are gonna call me a Marvel fanboy, which I guess technically I am, but of the two, I'm more interested in seeing Marvel movies going forward than DC. Which Marvel and DC film coming out in the next 5 years are you most excited about? As far as Marvel goes, like I just said, Black Panther probably, although I'm pretty pumped for all of these. And for DC, I think it might actually be Suicide Squad. The others don't look bad. There's Wonder Woman, that'll probably be okay. There's Justice League, that might be good. There's Aquaman with the Furious 7 director. We don't really know much about Green Lantern, Cyborg, or The Flash. Shazam could also be good. The last I heard, it was kind of detached from the rest of the DC universe, which means it could be a bit more fun, and it has The Rock in it. But at the moment, Suicide Squad actually looks really awesome. Who is your least favorite actor in the MCU? That's actually a really hard question, because I don't really dislike anyone in the MCU. Even characters who aren't really memorable, the performance is usually great. I guess I didn't love Kat Dennings in Thor: The Dark World. She wasn't bad at all, but some of the comedy kind of fell slightly flat for me. I'll also say Aaron Taylor Johnson didn't do anything super impressive as Quicksilver. That might have been the writing's fault though. I don't know, I guess one of these two if I had to pick someone. Although I still did enjoy them in the movies. Do you watch Legends of Tomorrow? Haven't yet. Like a lot of the things I've mentioned here, I'll get to it eventually. What would you do if you were as famous as PewDiePie? Get a nice house? Get a good car? Donate to charity? I don't know, whatever PewDiePie does these days. What's the best movie for aspiring filmmakers to watch? Having not seen Pulp Fiction or Citizen Kane, I'd probably put Birdman out there as mine. It's just an extremely well-made film on pretty much every level. So yeah, if you want to get into filmmaking, check it out. Top 3 Marvel characters that should get their own Netflix series. The Punisher, maybe Ghost Rider, and this is gonna be super absurd, but I'm gonna say Blade, just because Marvel does have the rights to it. What got you into films, and do you want to be a filmmaker yourself? Birdman primarily got me into films, and yes, when I grow up, I do want to be a filmmaker. Okay, Rutvik Dave asked a bunch of stuff, so let's do this. Which superhero do you like, and why, and if you could have a superpower, what would it be? I've talked about Batman a bunch in this video, so go to that. And if I could have a superpower, I don't want to say the super generic answer, like flying, although that is probably what I would choose, so I'm gonna say invisibility, just because that would be awesome. Can you do a face reveal sometime in the future? Marvel or DC, also coming sometime in the future? Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars. Me personally, I've never really gotten into Star Trek. Team Cap, Team Iron Man, Team Deadpool, Team Thanos, or can't really choose between any. I mean, of those 5 choices, I'd probably go with Team Deadpool. Who is your favorite YouTuber other than yourself? Well, thank you for thinking that I would say I'm my own favorite YouTuber, but definitely Mr. Sunday Movies. And did you realize the number mix-up? I don't really know what you mean by that.
2 hours later.
Oh, I get it. You changed the numbers. Being completely honest, I did not notice. With Hulk going into space at the end of Age of Ultron, do you think the MCU will incorporate the World Breaker Hulk storyline? I'm guessing that's World War Hulk, and I have a video going over all of that, so check that out here. My thoughts basically are I think Hulk will go off in Thor Ragnarok to become a gladiator on a distant planet, and yeah, maybe after that they could do World War Hulk. How old are you? What was/is your experience with school like? 14, and my school experience is pretty great. Have a lot of friends, the work isn't too difficult, pretty good time. MCU versus DCU versus Star Wars versus Harry Potter versus Pixar. Well, that is basically impossible to decide. Of those options, I'm probably gonna have to say Harry Potter. Harry Potter is like my franchise. It's what I grew up on, the movies are great, Harry Potter all the way. Which Marvel character do you think needs a solo movie? Besides the ones I've mentioned before, I'd also like to see a Black Widow solo movie. I know it's been brought up sometimes as a joke, but I think that'd be awesome. A full-on MCU spy film sounds great to me at least. Do you think Marvel will stay a success, or do you think DC will become a success? I think both can happen. I think Marvel will stay a success, and whether or not DC will become a success, that's a bit of a harder question. Hopefully, especially if they get someone to help Zack Snyder, who seems to be in charge of this whole DC universe, which wouldn't be my ideal pick. But yeah, the best world for me would be where Marvel and DC both make fantastic movies. Sneak peek of any new formats you might be working on? I'm not super sure what you mean by that. By formats, do you mean new videos, or new types of videos, or new kinds of editing? Regardless, I've got a lot of surprises coming up in the next couple months, and a lot of new kind of ideas that I think and hope you'll enjoy. What movie inspired you to talk about movies? Again, I've said it a lot this video, The Avengers is pretty up there. If you could meet anyone from Civil War, who would it be? I'm not entirely sure if you're asking if I could meet a character or an actor, but I'll answer both. If I could meet an actor from Civil War, it'd be RDJ, just because he seems like an awesome guy and I've been a fan of him for a while. And if I could meet a character from Civil War, probably Ant-Man, because he just seems like he would be fun to hang out with. If you could pick any superpower and actually be a superhero with said superpowers, what would they be and what would your superhero name be? Well, like I said, I'd love to fly and become invisible. I also wouldn't mind having super speed. And as far as my superhero name goes, I don't even know. Knowing me, it would definitely be something that sounds kind of cool, but has nothing to do with my powers. Like something like Nitro, or Nightshade, or Night something. I don't know, I'd have to give it quite a bit of thought. Some similar questions to this were, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Or what kind of suit would you like to have? Definitely an Iron Man suit. It is the coolest, most awesome, most badass suit in any superhero movie. And also, someone asked, what would your minor or underpowered superpower be? And I assume this means a superpower that's not really big or really special. And I can't really think of a good example of that. Like X-ray vision, is that really big? How about being able to like summon stuff across small distances? Like if I'm at school and I forgot my pencil case at home and I just snap and it comes to me? I don't know, is that too big of a power? After BVS, do you have confidence in the success of the DCU and the Justice League movies? Or do you think they should reboot? I definitely don't think they should reboot just yet, because we've started this universe, and whether or not you like these movies, there is a universe that's been built here. So let's keep it in this world, because I think you can make some good movies in this universe. Which superhero do you relate to the most? I guess I'll say Captain America, just because I have the same ideology as him, at least in the movies. And while I'm not saying my morals and decision-making skills are as good as his, that is kind of the persona that I aspire to be like. Okay, Formicidae Incorporated, you asked a bunch of questions, so let's speedrun these. Favorite actor? I'd probably go with Michael Keaton. Although DiCaprio, Fassbender, and Hardy are up there. Best R-rated movie? I mean, Birdman is technically R-rated, but as far as a film that really relies on the R rating, I'd probably say Deadpool. Best movie with a bad actor in the main role? There are probably way better examples of this out there, but the one that I think of is Star Wars Episode 3. I don't think it's a great movie, I barely think it's a good movie, but it is definitely the best of the Star Wars prequels, and Hayden Christensen also gives his best Anakin performance, although that isn't saying much. And best non-American movie? I know there are a ton of great non-American movies out there, I just have yet to watch them, so I can't really answer this. I really want to watch The Raid and The Raid 2. Those look phenomenal. Do you watch The Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl? I do watch The Flash, I really enjoy it. I've seen a bit of Arrow, and I've seen the first episode of Supergirl, and I'll just say I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Did you ever have your opinion change on a movie after watching it twice? I can't think of a movie where that's happened. There's never been a movie where I watched it again and it completely changed, like it went from being a good movie to a bad movie. It's only gone up and down a little bit. Like for example, when I first saw Star Wars The Force Awakens, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. And now I've seen it 4 times, and I've enjoyed it more with each watch. So I'd probably bump The Force Awakens up from an 8.8 to a 9.2 out of 10, something like that. Congrats on 10,000 subs, man. You make some great videos. What is your next YouTube milestone goal? Well, I don't really have a specific goal that I'm going for. I just want to keep going with what I'm doing, and it'll be fun to see how many subscribers I get along the way. I guess my next milestone goal is 50,000. That could happen in the next couple of years, right? Most underrated and overrated movie. I would say most overrated, and I think I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I'm gonna say, as far as recently, The Theory of Everything, it's not bad. It's a good movie, and Eddie Redmayne is fantastic. But I just felt it was kind of weirdly paced, and unlike most other biopics, it didn't really hold my interest all the way through, so I'd probably have to put that as slightly overrated. And in terms of underrated movies, I would say more recently Dope. Not a lot of people have seen this. Check it out if you haven't. It's fantastic. And also, like I mentioned, The Emperor's New Groove. Fantastic Disney movie that I think isn't given enough credit. And finally, Robert Games RG asks, did you ever think you were gonna get this far? And to that, I say, not really. When I started this whole YouTube thing, I didn't really expect that there would be 10,000 people who wanted to hear what I have to say, especially not this soon. Like I've said, the YouTube thing is just a lot of fun. And it's really nice for me to know that I can entertain thousands of people each week. That's just awesome. From when I started this channel to now, I've had so much support on this. It's amazing. Not just from my friends and family, but also from you people in the comments. I used to reply to each comment that said that they enjoyed the video with thanks or thank you, and now I can't really do that because there are so many nice comments. But just letting you know, I read pretty much every comment I get. So when you comment great video or good job, even if I don't reply, I've seen it and I really appreciate it. I don't want to get all cheesy here, but I'll just say again, thank you so much for the support. And here's to 20,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.